The night the voice came, a man was awake. Not because of a dream, not because of noise. His body just woke up, like someone tapped him from inside. He sat up on his mat and held his breath. The village was too quiet. No goat crying, no dog barking. Then he heard it, a voice, not shouting, not whispering either, just calm, like a person standing beside your door. It said one name, Morenike. His skin tightened. His wife, Bisi, sat up beside him. Her eyes were wide. "You heard it?" he asked. She didn't answer. She didn't need to. The voice spoke again. Morenike. And this time, other sounds followed. Doors opening, feet on sand, people stepping outside. In the village of Aketu, everyone heard the same voice. Who was that man who woke up to the voice? His name is Kunle. At that time, Kunle was a trader. Kunle traveled to the next towns and returned with salt, cloth, and small things people needed. Kunle knew most people in the village. Not closely, but enough. Enough to know Morenike was not someone people liked to mention. Not because she did anything loud, because she was too quiet. Morenike lived alone at the far side of the village, close to the old footpath. Her husband had died 3 years earlier. Some said it was sickness, some said it was something else. In Aketu, a person can die once and then die again inside gossip. That was Morenike's life. That night, Kunle stepped outside with Bisi behind him. The air was cold. Moonlight sat on the rooftops like pale cloth. People were outside too. Elders, young men, women with wrappers tied tight. No one was talking. They were all listening. The voice came again. Morenike. It sounded close and far at the same time, like it was inside the wind. Then something happened that Kunle still couldn't explain properly. Morenike's door opened, slowly. She stepped out. She didn't look surprised. She didn't ask who was calling her name. She just walked forward, barefoot, like someone following a path she already knew. Nobody stopped her. Nobody spoke. They followed from a distance. Not like a crowd chasing her. More like people pulled by fear and curiosity. Morenike walked past the meeting tree, past the chief's compound, past the market stalls. Then she turned toward the old footpath, the one that led behind the village, behind the farms, toward the place they did not like to go at night. The voice called again. Morenike. She kept walking. She stopped near an abandoned well. Not the village well, an old one, long covered with weeds. Some people said the water there turned bitter. Some said a child fell in years ago. Most people avoided it. Morenike stood still, her head bowed. The voice spoke again. Morenike. This time, it sounded like it came from the ground. Bisi grabbed his arm. Kunle, she whispered, let's go. But Kunle's feet refused to move. Morenike lifted her head and spoke for the first time. Her voice was soft. I'm here. That was all she said. Then the voice stopped, just like that. No wind, no sound. The village held its breath. Morenike turned around and walked back home. Nobody followed her this time. They all went back to their compounds like people waking from the same dream. By morning, the village was alive again. Goats bleated like nothing happened. Children ran around. Women cooked. But the adults were not the same. People stood in small groups, talking in half voices. Everyone had heard it, but nobody wanted to be the first to admit it, because admitting it meant accepting it was real. And if it was real, it meant something. At the market area, Kunle heard Mama Tola speaking loudly. "She's the one. I told you people, that woman is not normal." Some people nodded. Some people pretended not to hear. That afternoon, Kunle passed Morenike's compound. Her gate was closed. No noise, no visitors, just silence. Later, Kunle saw Elder Fatai and Chief Adewale in front of the meeting tree. They were talking with serious faces. When Kunle greeted them, the chief only nodded. Elder Fatai looked at Kunle and said, "Kunle, did you hear it?" Kunle wanted to lie, but the words refused to come. "Yes," Kunle said. He sighed and rubbed his forehead. "Say nothing," he warned. That was strange. If the elders wanted silence, then the matter was not just fear. It was a secret. That night, Kunle tried to sleep early. Bisi did not talk much. Even their children seemed quieter, like they could feel something in the air. Then again, Kunle's body woke up. The village was silent. The voice came. "Morenike." Kunle sat up fast. Bisi whispered, "Again." Outside, doors opened again. Feet moved again. It was the same pattern, like the village was being summoned. Kunle stepped outside. Morenike's door opened again. She came out again, and again she looked like she was expecting it. This time she walked faster, straight to the old well. They followed again. She stood in the same spot. The voice called her name one more time. "Morenike." She replied, "I am here." Then silence again. And she walked back home. By the third night, fear started turning into anger. People don't like repeated mysteries. They want answers. They want someone to blame. On the third morning, men gathered near the meeting tree. One of them was Tunde, a hot-headed farmer who liked to talk with his chest. He said, "We should question her. This is disgrace." Others agreed, but the elders hesitated. That hesitation told Kunle everything. This was not just about Morenike. This was about something older, something the elders didn't want opened. And now the voice was digging at it. That evening, before night came, Kunle went to Morenike's compound alone. Bisi begged him not to. He went anyway. Her gate was not locked. Kunle entered slowly and called her name. "Morenike." She came out with a small lamp. Her face was calm, like the village fear belonged to them, not her. "You should not come here," she said. "I know," Kunle replied, "but I need to ask." She looked at Kunle for a long moment. Then she said, "Ask." "What is the voice?" Kunle asked. Her hands trembled slightly. "It's not for me to say," she answered. Kunle felt irritation rise in him. "You answer it," Kunle said. "You go there, you speak back, you act like you know." Morenike lowered her eyes. Then she said, "I do know." Kunle's throat got dry. Kunle asked carefully, "What does it want?" Her voice dropped. "It wants what I buried." Kunle's chest tightened. "Buried what?" Kunle asked. Morenike did not answer immediately. She looked toward the sky like she was checking if night had arrived. Then she said, "A truth." That was not enough. Kunle waited. She finally spoke. "Do you remember the boy that disappeared years ago?" Kunle swallowed. Every village has a story like that. A child who went out and never came back. People search, then they stop. Then they pretend. "Yes," Kunle said. She nodded. "I was the last person with him," she said. Kunle's flow stream felt a coldness in his stomach. His mouth opened, but nothing came out. She continued. "He followed me that day. I told him to go back. He didn't. He kept following. Her hands trembled slightly. He slipped near the old well. He hit his head. Kunle stared at her. "You're lying," Kunle whispered, even though he didn't know why he said it. Morenike shook her head. "I carried him," she said. "I tried. I ran. But he was gone." Kunle's legs felt weak. Kunle asked, "So why didn't you tell?" Morenike's eyes filled, but no tears fell. "Because the elders told me not to." That sentence landed like a slap. Morenike spoke slowly, like she was reading from memory. "The boy belonged to someone important," she said. "A man with power. If they knew he followed me, they would have blamed me. So I went to Elder Fatai, and he went to the chief. They came, they saw, and they decided." Kunle's hands clenched. "Decided what?" Kunle asked. Morenike's voice became smaller. "To cover it," she said. "To bury him properly, without noise, without questions. To let the village forget." Kunle could not breathe properly. Kunle asked, "Where?" Morenike looked away. "Near the well," she said. "Not inside it, beside it." Kunle remembered the exact spot she stood every night. Kunle's skin prickled. The voice was not calling her to punish her. It was calling her to the place, to what was hidden, to what was unfinished. Kunle asked her, "Why now?" Morenike sighed. "Because the man who owned the secret is dying," she said. "And the boy's mother is still alive," she added. "She still waits sometimes." Kunle's throat tightened. Morenike looked straight at Kunle. "The dead don't like being forgotten," she said. That line chilled Kunle, not because it was dramatic, because it sounded like truth. That night, the voice came again. "Morenike." But this time, Morenike did not step out. Her door remained closed. The voice called again. "Morenike." The village stood outside like before, waiting. The voice called a third time. "Morenike." Then the voice changed. Not angry, just heavier. And it said something it had never said before. It said his name. "Kunle." Kunle's heart slammed. People turned toward his compound. BC grabbed his arm so hard it hurt. Kunle felt the air leave his body. The voice spoke again. "Kunle." The village erupted. Not shouting, not yet, but sharp murmurs, questions, fear. Kunle stepped forward without thinking. The voice went quiet, and Kunle knew, in that moment, that the secret had moved. It was no longer Morenike's burden alone. Now it was his too. By morning, the elders called a meeting. This time, not small, not hidden. Everyone came. Chief Adewale sat with a stiff face. Elder Fatai looked older than his years. Morenike did not come. Kunle stood among the crowd, feeling everyone's eyes. Chief Adewale raised his hand and said, "Something is happening. We will address it." That was his way of speaking without saying anything. Kunle stepped forward. Kunle's mouth felt dry. And Kunle spoke. Kunle told them what Morenike told him. Kunle said the boy's name. Kunle said the well. Kunle said the burial. A wave moved through the crowd. People gasped. People shook their heads. Someone shouted, "Is it true?" Elder Fatai stood slowly. His voice was tired. "It is true," he said. And with that, the village changed. They went to the old well. Men with shovels, women with cloth. The boy's mother came too. Her name was Kimi. She walked like someone who had been holding pain for too long. No one spoke loudly. Even the children became quiet, watching the adults. They dug, slowly, carefully. The soil was wet. And then they found it. A cloth bundle, old, fragile. Kimi made a sound no one could forget. Not screaming, not crying, just a sound like her chest cracked open. People looked away. Some covered their mouths.
Some held their heads. The chief stood still, like a man who knew he could not talk his way out of this. That night, the voice waited again. They were afraid. They were curious. They were exhausted. But the night stayed quiet. No name, no call, no voice. Dogs barked again. Goats moved. Wind passed. And for the first time in many nights, they slept. Morinike left the village 2 days later. Not chased, not forgiven, just known. Before she left, Kunle went to see her once more. Kunle found her packing small cloths into a bag. Kunle said, "You don't have to go." She looked at Kunle with tired eyes. "I stayed with a secret for years," she said. "I want to breathe again." Kunle asked her, "Did you ever hear the voice clearly?" Morinike paused. Then she said, "Not in words." She tapped her chest lightly. "Here," she said. "It was always here." She picked up her bag and stepped outside. She walked away on the same footpath she used to avoid. People like to say she was the problem. They like to say she brought something unnatural to the village. But the truth is, the village created the problem. They hid something, they buried it, they told themselves time would cover it. And for a while, it did. But some things don't stay buried. Not because of forces people don't understand, because of truth. Now, when Kunle passes the old well, he doesn't feel fear. He feels shame. And he remembers the night the voice called one name until it got tired and called his.